It was 1914, a year that would change the world forever. Europe was like a pot about to boil over, filled with tension and unrest. For years, countries had been angry at each other, like a secret fight waiting to happen, simmering just below the surface. Nationalism, which means being super proud of your country, was everywhere, fueling the fire of competition and rivalry. Big empires like Great Britain, France, and Germany were fighting over land and power, each wanting to expand their influence. This power struggle made them build up their armies and navies like a scary contest, each trying to outdo the other. They also made secret deals with each other called alliances, promising to support one another in case of conflict. These deals were supposed to stop fighting, but they actually made things worse, like adding gasoline to a fire, creating a web of obligations. The match that lit the fire was on June 28, 1914, in Sarajevo, a day that would go down in history. A Serbian guy who really loved his country killed Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the next in line to rule Austria-Hungary, sparking outrage. Austria-Hungary, with Germany's help, gave Serbia a list of demands, hoping to assert their dominance. Serbia, with Russia's help, said no, refusing to bow down to the pressure. The little bit of peace that existed broke, shattering the fragile balance. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and that started a chain reaction, pulling in more and more countries. Russia stepped in to help Serbia, so Germany declared war on Russia, escalating the conflict. Germany, scared of fighting a war on two sides, then declared war on France, Russia's friend, hoping to gain an advantage. Great Britain had a deal with Belgium, so when Germany marched through Belgium to get to France, Great Britain declared war on Germany, joining the fray. In just a few days, all of Europe was at war, engulfed in a conflict that would change the course of history. At the beginning of the war, everyone thought it would be over quickly, like a short game. They believed it would be a swift and decisive conflict, with soldiers returning home in no time. They thought soldiers would be home by Christmas, celebrating the holidays with their families. They were wrong. The war got stuck, like a car in the mud, dragging on for years with no end in sight. On the Western Front, a long line of ditches called trenches stretched for hundreds of miles, creating a deadly stalemate. The Battle of the Marne, in September 1914, stopped Germany from taking over Paris, marking a significant turning point. This started trench warfare, a really awful way of fighting, where soldiers faced constant danger and hardship. Soldiers on both sides lived in terrible conditions, mud, rats, sickness and bombs exploding all the time, making life in the trenches a living nightmare. If they attacked, they were usually met with machine guns, and lots of soldiers died, turning the battlefield into a graveyard. World War I saw lots of new weapons, changing how wars are fought forever. The machine gun became even more deadly. Big guns, called artillery, fired bombs from far away. Cars led to new weapons, like tanks and airplanes. Tanks, slow and clunky at first, could maybe break through the trenches. Airplanes, first used for spying, started fighting each other in the sky and dropping bombs. The scariest new weapon was poison gas. Gases like chlorine and mustard gas caused horrible pain and death to soldiers, and even people not fighting. The Western Front was the main battleground, but the war spread everywhere. The Ottoman Empire, friends with Germany and Austria-Hungary, fought Russia and Great Britain. The war even reached Africa, where soldiers from different countries fought. Japan, Great Britain's friend, took over some of Germany's land. The war changed everything back home too. Countries started making war supplies instead of other things. Food was limited. Governments told stories called propaganda to make people support the war and hate the enemy. With the men away fighting, women worked in factories, farms and hospitals. The war destroyed the idea of a peaceful and happy Europe. After 4 long years of fighting, the war finally ended in 1918. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief as the guns fell silent. Germany, tired and losing, agreed to stop fighting on November 11, 1918. The armistice marked the end of the bloodshed. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the war. But it also caused problems for the future. It imposed harsh penalties on Germany. It made Germany pay a lot of money, which made them angry. The economic strain led to widespread discontent and unrest. The war changed the world in big ways. Cities lay in ruins and the map of Europe was redrawn. Empires disappeared and new countries were born. The old world order was shattered. Millions of people died in the worst war the world had ever seen. The human cost was unimaginable. New ideas like communism and fascism started, and these ideas changed the 20th century. Political landscapes were forever altered. After World War I, the world was never the same. Societies had to rebuild and adapt to a new reality. It was forever changed by the terrible things that happened in the Great War. The memories of the conflict lingered, shaping future generations.